Women sportsperson have shown a meticulous rise in the recent years. There's never been a dearth of talent in women's sports in India, but surely there have been the hindrances good enough in the women representation in the sports. Though the Wonder Women of sports have risen significantly since the turn of the century, it is their legacy that is propelling them forward. The newcomers who have punched above their weight, the ones who are not underrated, may not be overstated, but for sure they have excelled. Sports Pamphlet is here today to talk about the women sportsmen who have shown an exceptional rise in their discipline in the recent years. Recalling one sportsperson at a time, the list begins with the heroics of the Hyderabadi Hurricane in the arena of boxing, Nikhat Zareen. Though there'll never be another magical MC Mary Kom in the Indian boxing fraternity, however, Team India should carry on the legacy, and Nikhat Zareen surely carries it forward in her own style. The 26-year-old Indian boxer's life has been a roller coaster ride throughout. Coming from an orthodox Muslim background, it was never easy for Nikhat. She has faced social stigma since the day she put on the gloves. She cites her father, Jamil Ahmed, as a dear supporter who stood by her side in order to make her what she is today. In her early childhood years, Zareen was inducted into the Sports Authority of India. She also demonstrated her worth by winning the Golden Best Boxer Award at the Erode International in 2010. Next, she won gold in the AIBA Women's Junior World Championship in 2014, along with numerous other titles. Nikhat's coach is all praise for her. He says Nikhat is quite strong in techniques and tactics, with a quick switch to plan B, C, and at times D, backed by her clean punches and sharp reflexes is what makes her stand out. Even GSW head of sports, Manisha Malhotra, has praised Nikhat's orthodox stance, and the uppercut is just so clear. Reading opponents first, taking her time to gauge them, and then displaying her show is what Nikhat's winning strategy is, says women's boxing team former coach Muhammad Ali Kamar. But what made Nikhat a household name was the 2022 IBA World Boxing Championships in Turkey, where Nikhat won gold in the lightweight division, followed by another gold at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. At the age of 26, Zareen is now an inspiration for many, has won a plethora of accolades, and is all set to achieve her dream run for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Manika Batra for table tennis. Ping pong has never been an Indian territory. Rock-solid defense, aggression, and control have been best suited to East Asian nations like China, Korea, and Japan. Though the Indian men's TT team had the likes of Sharat Kamal, the women's team always lacked a leader, which was only filled when Manika Batra arrived and took charge. Standing tall at 5 feet 11 inches, the Delhi girl with a shake hand grip surprised her opponents with a stupendous performance in the 2016 South Asian Games and continued the golden run with 2 golds in the 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. And who can forget the long pimples Manika Batra uses in her TT racket, pretty good enough to neutralize the topspin. A prime example of her intelligence could be the Asian Cup battle for the bronze, when the match was pushed to the final of best of 6. Just when in the 6th set, when Hayata was trailing behind, she immediately took the lead, changing her tactic to keep playing Manika to her backhand. But to her surprise, Batra neutralized her topspin with a long pimples and stun. The then world number 6 player to secure the bronze and carrying home the prize money of US $10,000. Today, Batra is the 44th ranked player in the world and the number 1 ranked player in India. Owing to her contribution to table tennis, Batra has been conferred with the highest sporting honor in India, the Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award. Aditi Ashok for golf. For an average Indian, golf has always been looked upon as the rich man's sport. Maybe it is due to the terrain, surface, or traditional dominance of cricket, or it could be seen as a lack of interest in the very sport. Add to that, the $1 million bounty doesn't always fit into the price caps of most of the Indian masses. A handful of golfers like Jeev Milkha Singh and Anirban Lahiri find recognition among the masses with their heroics, but not the very game of golf itself. But all of a sudden, when a woman competes at a higher level in golf and makes an incredible achievement of her own kind, that's where golf is at par among the Indian masses. We are talking about none other than golf prodigy Aditi Ashok. At age 18, Aditi appeared in her maiden Olympics in Rio de Janeiro 2016. She eventually became the first Indian to win a golf tournament on the Ladies European Tour. But it's a breakthrough performance at Tokyo 2020 that sets her apart. Just imagine competing in the Tokyo Olympics as the 200th ranked golfer in the world and finishing the tournament in 4th place, only missing out on the 17th hole, which could have secured her the women's maiden Olympic gold medal for the country. Hard luck, Aditi, but at the same time, that's Aditi Ashok for you. Gangom Baladevi for football. The unmatched popularity of cricket often overshadows the spark of football. Though the ISL has gained enough clout to promote football, there is still much room for growth. Here India's men's football team struggle. Forget about the national women's football team, which receives less funding and infrastructure in comparison. But the heroics of Gangom Baladevi set such an unprecedented record that Indian football went international. So much so that questions about her surfaced in KBC too. Well, the Manipur-based footballer Gangom Baladevi has been serving the Indian women's football team since 2005 with 52 goals in 58 appearances. Her club career has also been majestic with Manipur Police and Odisha FC. But it was the Jan 2020 call when one of the biggest European clubs, Rangers FC, signed her on an 18 months contract. With this feat, she became not only the first Indian but also the first Asian footballer to represent Rangers FC. Baladevi arrived with a number 10 jersey and was basically deployed as a second striker or an attacking midfielder. Though 2 goals in only 9 appearances may look average in all those games, she largely came from the bench, which sums it all up. And more importantly, that too was when she was 30, an age when players of her caliber are considered past their prime, and there is Gangom Baladevi dribbling, shooting and nutmegging her opponents. Malvika Bansod, badminton. It's often said what tennis is to Europe, badminton is to Asia, and it looks evident too. As the current Thomas Cup champion, India has gone on to produce several talents in this game. Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, Kidambi Shrikant, Parupalli Kashyap, the list never ends. And there is no doubt that the impact and legacy of these badminton champions will live on in the young pursuits as well. But it has to be a toss-up between two southpaws of the game, Malvika Bansod and Ashmita Chalia. But for now, we have to settle down with Malvika Bansod. Even though she aces by only a thin margin over her compatriot, shuttler from Nagpur entered the picture after defeating her idol, former world number 1 Saina Nehwal in the Sunrise India Open in January 2022. Her success is not confined to this feat. More recently, on November 2022, Malvika added one more feather to her cap when she became the number 1 women's shuttler in India as per the Badminton Association of India's ranking. With an aggressive stance, the powerful smashes, intelligent stroke plays and the iconic cross-court net shot, Malvika certainly looks like a force to be reckoned with in the near future at the international level. Mirabai Chanu, weightlifting. It is frequently debated that despite not being on the Indian mainland, the Northeast's progress with less infrastructure and facilities is commendable. That excellence continues in the area of sports too. Saikhom Mirabai Chanu is one of its finest examples. The Manipur Methi is hailed as one of the best weightlifters India has ever produced. But honestly, she never came this far without coming this far. Saikhom, who is 28 years old, possesses the major medals, the Commonwealth gold medal streak, successfully defending the 2018 CWG Gold Coast title in CWG 2022 Birmingham and becoming world champion in the 48 kg weightlifting category are not to be underestimated. Her success hasn't been contained. Saikhom became a household name after her heroic performance at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, where she won silver in weightlifting, thus becoming the first Indian to have this achievement. Recalling her training days, Saikhom Mirabai appears grounded and humble. Not only does Mirabai Chanu credit her family and coaches, but she also acknowledges the role of truck drivers who frequently hitched rides to her from her hometown to the sports training center in Manipur so that she could complete her sports training. Her expression of gratitude to them following her iconic Tokyo 2020 run reflects her nature. What's more, Mirabai's Tokyo 2020 success also sent Twitter into overdrive when even mighty Thor, Chris Hemsworth, congratulated her all the way from Australia, writing, "She is worthy. Congrats Saikhom, you are a legend." Avni Lekhara for shooting. The waves of women's empowerment have not been confined to the athletic sports sphere but have also reached out to the para games. And the name of the Paralympic rifle shooter Avni Lekhara should definitely be on the list. 19-year-old Avni scripted history at the 2020 Paralympics when she won the first ever gold medal in the 10-meter air rifle event. Not only did she win the gold medal, but she also set an Indian record by scoring 249.6 points in the game. Paralyzed at 10 in a tragic car accident, Avni didn't let the tragedy hold her down. With a supportive father and the 2008 Beijing Olympics gold medal shooter Abhinav Bindra as an inspiration, Avni has broken several Paralympic records and looks off the shelf to break several others. Bhavani Devi, fencing. Compared with the other forms of martial arts, fencing appears quite new in the context of India. Although fencing has featured in every modern Olympic game since 1896, surprisingly, no Indian has been featured in fencing for so long. With the arrival of CA Bhavani Devi, India's wait for fencing was finally over. Bhavani Devi, who hails from Chennai, possesses fast reflexes in her sabre, one of the three fencing disciplines, stance, and is there to flex a fence. On her day, Bhavani Devi with her aggressive gameplay can give the Olympians like Manon Brunet run for their money. In a place where fencing is alien, there is hardly any infrastructure, it was never so easy for Bhavani. Nonetheless, Bhavani made history when she won the first ever silver medal in fencing at the 2014 Asian Championship. Carried out the success with the first ever gold for an Indian in Commonwealth Championship Canada 2019. Though Bhavani's failure to qualify for the Rio Olympics in 2016 was a setback, she made the most of it with the redemption to finally secure a spot in the Tokyo Olympics 2020, and that too with the first ever fencing feat by an Indian. Today, she boasts of a wonderful collection of 17 medals and presently owns 40th rank in the world in the sabre fencing with 33.5 points. And more importantly, it has one of the highest sports honor, the Arjuna Award. Thakurs King. There is no denying that India has a diversified landscape from the Eastern Ghats to the Western Thar to the Himalayas in the north. However, geographically, India is still not one of those countries that could pull off the Winter Games or at least the snow-related games. But going back 5 years from now, in January 2018, India's game got enumerated in the sport of skiing for the first time when a young girl named Aanchal Thakur from the Himalayas took the world by surprise as she won the first ever skiing medal in the skiing slalom race at the Alpine Azure 3200 Cup in Turkey. Aanchal's hunger for skiing didn't end here. She won another bronze medal in an alpine skiing competition at Montenegro in December 2021. Aanchal recalls her early skiing, which had a pretty less involvement